I'm gonna speak because I'm also young. I know for me specifically, social media did that a lot for me, right? I see kids who are no smarter than me, no more gifted than me, making tons of money, and it feels like I should be there already. I know when I was in high school, I was like, oh, I should already have it. I'm in high school, right? And I'm thinking I should already have this figured out. I should be somewhere different than I am. Whether it was athletically, where I see kids 15-year-old jumping out the gym, whether it was financially, I felt like, man, why can't I afford these things? And I think that sometimes, even when we look at these pressures on the outside, going back to things like we see so much news nowadays. Social media has so many people, so many young people, unfortunate things happening, so many shootings. It feels like, bro, I don't even know if tomorrow necessarily might be promised. And I'm not saying that there weren't dangers back in the day, but now everything seems like my problem. And so I think that when we look at social media and other influences of that nature, I think that it definitely pushes us to feel like we should be somewhere different. And that pressure doesn't allow you to be a kid. Because kids focus on playing and doing kids things. I shouldn't be focused on how much money I have or can I buy these cars or can I get to this place, let alone we think about the state of trying to move out and things of that nature because it's expensive out here. And so I think that all these external pressures weigh down on us as kids. And whether we can express it or not, we feel it. So I want to give us more room. I know we just had somebody else join the room to talk more about some of these things that we face, but I also want to talk about how can we brainstorm to either A, pick a path to fix these things, or B, better communicate our needs to people who can help. But for right now, like I said, for the sake of you joining some new people, I want to give us a chance to maybe talk about some more additional things that maybe came to our mind. The question was, what is one thing or what are some things that you know about being young today that make it hard for you to be a kid? You're going to be a little closer.
Instagram has like a big toll on how everybody sees like life. Like everybody lives or tries to be like what they see on the internet when in reality you can't have that or it might not be as easy to get that because everybody doesn't work the same. So I think that Instagram and the internet in general plays a big part of that.
You almost become afraid to make mistakes,
Yeah.
especially because we see how people get tarnished online when people make mistakes. And I want to ask you a question as the adult. What do you see in life happen when you're afraid to make mistakes? How does that stifle your growth when you're stuck in a box and you can't make mistakes to progress? Because mistakes are necessary to get into the people you want to be, correct?
Absolutely. So making mistakes is part of growing up. You make the mistake, you fall down, and you get back up, and you learn from that mistake and you move on. So when you're afraid to make a mistake, so I was about to just actually ask you guys about when you talk about safety, mentally safe. So am I in a safe space that if I had something wrong with my mind, would I feel like people would care? Would people ask me, was I okay? Would people push me in the direction to get help? So it's very important that you understand that you don't know everything. You're gonna make mistakes, and you need to be in a place, in an atmosphere, in a culture that you have people that will help you, that will guide you in the direction that you need to go to get the help that you need.
So for the question that he asked, do you guys feel like right now, whether it's at home, at school, through your friends, do you guys feel like you have a space where if you weren't good, if you were messed up, you were down and out, maybe you couldn't get it, but you could at least express that you were hurt? And what are some of those spaces, right? Because everybody doesn't have them. Explain where you guys find your peace at.
Yeah, my mother helps a lot. She takes a big part in like how I feel and how I can express myself. Like usually, like when I'm sad, I just talk to her and she just helps me express myself. I could cry, laugh, smile, and everything. My mom is like a big part of it.
Definitely. Family is a huge one, leaning on family.
Um, I have people in my life like that cares about my feelings and stuff. Like I go to this program called the program with Pastor Giles, and it helps with my attitude and my mental health, depression, staying out the streets, and just yeah.
Um, my mom is also very helpful. She's like a very open person, and like if I have a problem, she taught me from like when I was a little kid that I'm here to listen, not to judge it. So if you have something you want to say, no matter what it is, say something to me about it or let me know about it so I can help you.
I want to cut you up.
I got my brother. Anytime I need to talk or get anything off my chest, I got him to talk to him then too.
And all these sound like family, which is trust, right? Naturally, I'm related to you. I've known you for all my life. I got trust with you. But for some of these external adults, maybe at school and other environments, What does it take to build trust to feel comfortable opening up? What does that process entail? For me, I'm someone who needs to see action. If an adult is talking to me and it could all sound good on paper, but if I see in crunch time you don't follow through in your word, I'll never feel comfortable opening up to you because I feel like you're not authentic. But for y'all, what are some of those things that you guys need either from adults or from other sources to feel comfortable opening up? Because family is great, but finding and being able to create safe spaces, other places, so that you're not always, what if you can't make that call, right? How do you still express yourself and make these lines and make these relationships as you get older and go to different environments to feel like you always have support? Because building support systems requires a little bit of intention. I know it's very easy sometimes. I know, at least for myself, I could be in my own world if I want to. I could cut this phone off, go upstairs. I don't gotta talk to I could be in my own world if I want to, but going out and building relationships takes work. And building that trust takes work. So what are some of those things that are so important for you guys to see in adults or other people to allow you to build trust in your relationships?
Um, well, first, when I like express myself to somebody, I don't express the whole thing. I tell them a part of it and see like the body language, how they react to what I tell them. And if they're reacting like I'm gonna listen but I don't care, I'm gonna keep it short. But if I feel like they care, then I would explain to them what I want to explain to them because I don't trust a lot of people. So yeah.
It's like a test. You got to put the bait out in the
Yeah.
water and see how they react. And if they, hey, okay, then you move on to that next one. And see how, and you keep, it's kind of an incremental thing. So it takes time.
Right.
It just takes time.
I just feel like adults should be more understanding because they want you as a kid, and I know they want you to say stuff as us. So, but they should be more understanding.
Great. So for you, if you judging me mad hard, I'm not gonna be able to trust you because it feels like you're not being relatable. You're not being real. You were a kid too.
Yes.
So you guys think specific.
Same goes for like what Jai said. Like I will tell you a part of it, and I feel like if you're listening to me, I could finish the rest of it. But if you're like ignoring me, looking the other way, or just showing me that you really don't care, I'm not gonna be able to express myself, and I'm gonna just keep feeling the same way I feel.
Yeah, like what she said, it just take time.
And so within that time, I'm going to talk from a young perspective. Does it have to be, um, I think adults sometimes they feel like they got to get some advice. They feel like they got to know the answer. And it's not always like that. Sometimes I just want to spend time with you and be in your presence. Or sometimes you can just be there and listen. You don't have to have the right answer, right? Is it as a principal who spends time around kids, for maybe adults who are listening, parents, other family members, or mentor in those positions, how do you find it's easiest to just build time without feeling like you have to have the answer? How can you naturally build that time in that relationship without forcing it?
Most of you have already said it. It's most important to listen. So I listen to my students first. I may not have the answer, and my answer may not be the answer that's good for you. So if a student is open to hearing what I have to say, which most of them are, then I'll give them what I think might be a good suggestion for them. But it's really just to give you something to choose from. It doesn't mean that you're absolutely going to pick or think that what I'm telling you is the right answer. But the most important part, like I said, for adults, we have to learn to listen to our young people. A lot of times they're crying out to us. A lot of times they're giving us information that we need to help them. And because we're so busy trying to give the answer, we don't actually hear what they're saying or what they need. So the biggest key is to listen. You have to learn how to listen. And sometimes you might not want to hear what they're saying, but it's important for you to take that time to listen and hear it anyway.
And that listening part, I know for a lot of older people, like you said, is that how do I listen without agreeing? How do I accept without saying that I'm promoting, right? And they feel like they're on this balance. When it comes to judgment, I want to ask you guys, so my softball, I already asked y'all how y'all feeling. It's the little harder one, right? The question is this. How do you know if you are being judged by an adult or if you're projecting your insecurities onto what they're saying? Because I think sometimes adult, because us saying adults said, yo, man, you gotta get to school more. Like, you gotta be on top of it more. You gotta be on your schedule. I can't always be there for you. We may feel like they're saying I'm lazy. They didn't say that. They didn't say you were being lazy. They said you gotta be more on time. How do you know, right, if an adult is truly judging you or if you're projecting your insecurities onto what they're saying? Because I think I'm going to a commercial break. How much y'all think on that over the break? All right, we'll be right back. Thank you.
We're still on the live.
I'm still on Facebook Live. I know that was super fast paced. Normally we get here a little earlier, but this year we've had a switch. So we used to be the first show, but now we come on after them. So we just kind of rush to get into it. I'd like to ask in the break if there's any questions or directions you specifically want to go down. I got some paper here. You can write it down. And I kind of got to get myself on straight because I kind of got thrown in here too. Y'all see, I'm trying to just find questions to ask. But that last question is important, right? When it comes to advice and receiving advice, sometimes we can take it a type of way and feel really personal about things that aren't we're not supposed to take personal. And so, how do you assume well? How do you assume well without feeling like you're just letting adults say anything to you? Because at a certain level, there's a line of respect as well.
There's a pen in the cup right here.
There's a pen in the so I just want if you don't have an answer, that's okay too.
What was the question again?
How do you tell if an adult is judging you or if you're just taking it a type of way? Right? Because have you ever felt like have you ever known that you were wild and you were like, they didn't mean it like that, but I was just mad today or something like that? How do you balance that to truly trust adults? Because the right answer, like we said over time, if it's a big thing where I need to make sure that you're not judging me, I need to be able to tell if I'm being judged or just assume.
Credit card is perfect for you.
Oh, I'll get you another one.
And unlimited double miles on everything you buy. And everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits.
And yeah, if you guys want anybody to call in, you a family member just saying, hey, how y'all doing? They can call it at 716-837-12.
With Capital One.
What's in your world in terms of life? Not just this. Half the time I don't really care about what we were just saying anymore.
That's what I'm saying. You can say that. You can say that. You can be like, I don't care at all. That's okay. Because that's the way you do it. You like, I'm assuming nervous and you like, I really don't care. It's not that you care about it. Well,
It depends on what I say. Like if Miss Payne were to come up to me and say something, I know she cares. But if my English teacher came up to me, it's just a judgment. But it's just something because they felt like it.
Nobody pays attention to our community like we do. Ain't nobody ever gonna stop this. We got receipts.
And we're back on the Conversation with Jim Anderson show on the morning. If you want to join the conversation, just to remind, we can call in at 716-837-1112. Again, I'm joined by some students as well as the principal of Burgard High School today. We are talking about just some perspectives, right? We always talk about the young perspective. So we're talking about some things regarding problems that young people face and things of that nature. The question we left off on was, how do you kind of tell as a young person if an adult is truly judging you or if you're just kind of taking it a type of way and taking it personally? And so we were seeing some of the kids' answers to it as we kind of thought about it over the break, or some of the young adults. Let me start with some of the kids because I'm only 2 years from you guys. But the one answer
Did they
I
know that?
wanted to start with is the tone of their voice is usually an obvious signal on how they feel about us. So as an adult, I want to give you a chance to kind of respond to some of these things. Again, as someone who interacts with children a lot, how do you balance the tone of your voice? I think sometimes your voice can respond for you, even your tone can respond for you, even intend to a different way that you intend. How do you monitor that? How do you take that pause to make sure you're responding on the right side of that to not break this trust?
I consider myself a pretty even-keeled adult administrator, and I got 3 students here, so either they're gonna tell me you're telling stories or I'm telling the truth. So usually my response starts out pretty even-keeled. I want to sound like a father because I have children who were teenagers not too long ago. So I want them to feel like or know that I care, not feel like it, but just know that I care, know that I'm listening. But then also I need them to listen to what I'm saying because what I'm telling them is important information. And I know that if I start out yelling, screaming, they're not gonna listen to me at all. So initially it's pretty even keeled. It's very calm and caring. But then sometimes you have students, and these are not 3 of the students who will do that. They come back loud and obnoxious and smart, and sometimes using language that is not of the American language. I call it French. And then sometimes the voice may get a little bit more bass, a little bit more louder. And it's based on the situation. It's based on the response of the child. So like they're saying, our response matters, their response matters as well. Their body posture matters as well. So I also learned you don't want to stand over people when you're talking to them. So I make sure we're all sitting down at the table across from each other, talking to each other, because now we're at the even plane. I don't want them to look like I'm over them talking to them. I want us even playing. I'm listening to you, you listen to me.
I think that's definitely that even plane is important, I think, because sometimes, again, we don't feel like we're on the same level. And I think for me, I'm going to take it back to the court, the basketball court. When I'm on the court, sometimes it's difficult to put my ego aside, right? Yo, somebody get a good bucket on me, yo, I'm not trying to pass the ball. I'm coming down. I'm gonna shoot it. But recently, I've been trying to be better, right? Because I had to remind myself when coming back up the court the second time that do I want to score or do I want to win? And I really, really, really want to win. And I think as an adult, when you're asking questions to understand, it also goes back to this point where either you're asking to understand or to be right, but you can't be both, right? And so when you come in with the heart to understand, I think more what we're talking about from the younger perspective is I can tell when you're asking me a question to understand and when you're just trying to set me up with a trap, right? It's the words that you use. What you ain't know that versus, hey, did you know that? There's a difference. And even though we're children, I think sometimes the same way adults balance that, how do I agree or accept and not agree, the same way we balance, how do I be respectful without being disrespected? And so, again, going in with the heart to understand, I think all these things that we're talking about will be a lot clearer because if I truly wanted to understand what you were saying, we would sit down and have a conversation. But if I just wanted to be right, then I would speak over you and make you feel like you had no power here. Going on to some of our other answers from Tone, what are some of the other things if you guys had to answer? I know we had some actually unique answers. Y'all said maybe don't really care as much regardless either way.
I mean, you can just tell when somebody being judgmental from off their tone and what they saying. But it's like if it's somebody I know that's close to me and I know they want better for me, I'm gonna take their advice. But it's like if it's a random saying something to me and they don't know me, it's like nobody should like be speaking on my life if you don't know me. So
So it requires a little bit of effort to actually get to know you, right? We said a heart, like you really want to help, right? Every teacher, some teachers, you feel like maybe when they give advice, it's a lot more well-mannered than maybe some other teachers. What does that process come down to? Does it come down to asking questions and getting to know you first before we give advice and give direction? Because I think sometimes adults think in their mind, I don't necessarily have to know all about you because I've seen this before, right? I've been here before and they have experiences too. So does there require a certain level of you got to ask questions to get to know me before you can just give advice or give me criticism or direction?
I feel like it comes off of your energy. Like I have a teacher like Miss Hartley. Her energy is so cool, and I just love her. So like, if she was to tell me, "Oh, it's now 30 minutes to do this," then I would be like, okay, she's being really genuine because I know how she is and like, she's cool and she's real. But if it was just another teacher that just came to me like, you gotta do this, and they're not using the right tone or they're doing expressions that look like they don't care, then, like, that's I'm not gonna tell you my business.
Can I ask you, what did that teacher do the first time she met you? Because when she first met you, you didn't know her, she didn't know you. So what was it about her that made you know that she was genuine and that you could trust her? Because they had to be fucking, what were they?
It was the things that like she was doing throughout her class, like the activities we would do, or get to know her, get to know me, papers, it was stuff like that. And then as time progressed, I just loved how she was, so I opened it up to her.
And I know it's like I said, the same way I said I build trust, it's the actions I see. It's not when you in my face talking to me, are you kind to me and mean to him? What's going on? If you bad mouthing me, if you bad mouthing another young person to me, instantly I don't trust you. Because you're gonna do the same thing to me. It's the actions that we do behind it. It's the little things. Because we don't say it, but we live like we believe this statement that how you do something is how you do everything. And so when I see you not doing good by anybody else, it makes you feel like you're not going to do good by me. And I think sometimes as younger people, the world that we live in, a lot of people operate from a state of fear. If you're not with me, you're against me, and we live in these extreme distinctions. And once you pick a side, it becomes very hard to switch. And if you switch sides, even that might be an act of sign why I can't trust you. So I think that definitely those actions behind the scenes, the things that you don't think we're seeing, and they matter because actions do speak louder than words in a lot of circumstances. I want to let you also get a chance to answer. Did you have an answer for maybe a specific thing that oh, how do you know if someone's judging you or if you're taking it personal? Did you have maybe a perspective on that one as well?
So I I take in like everybody criticism, but like if I don't know how to explain it. Right? I guess it's just how I feel. Like you just can feel a certain type of way when how people talk to me or whatever. Yelling, it kind of throw me off. If you, but it depends how you yelling though. Like I don't know. Some people are passionate and that's just how they just feel like they're not being heard. So you got to take a time out to hear them out. if I feel like I'm not being heard, sometimes I get to yelling too. I just it's just time.
So when you now let me say this. So let's say the interaction go bad, right? You feel a type of way, they give you advice. If you're not having a good day, something just happened to me earlier. I'm not feeling great when you give me this advice or this criticism, because I'm gonna take it right now. Are you the type of person where you'll go away, think about it, and come back and be like, yo, you was right, that's how I feel about it? Or are you just gonna let that rock and maybe not approach that person ever again?
Nah, I'm definitely the type of person that overthink about it like later, and then take the time out to talk about it later. I gotta let it like marinate in my head first.
So I'm not going to divert this interview too much, but like outside this radio show, I teach communication skills. And overall, the base of it, I have a model where there's 4 types of communicators. We decide with 2 questions. I just want to say this for my people who need time to think about it. That's okay. And there's nothing wrong with needing time to take and process emotions. The hard part becomes, how do we maneuver and express that in the moment so we can have that time away where it's not framed that we're just storming off or having a fit? Because sometimes, like I said, some people really do just need that time to think and process on their own. And it would be unfair as people if we push and expect that everybody to be able to have an answer right then and there. And we don't. But then sometimes in the moment, it can feel like adults act like it. Right? So how do you guys express, yo, I need a second, I can't have this conversation right now? Or maybe how do you fail to express that, and how does it blow up and look for you guys?
The way I express myself, I just tell them like, we could talk about this later, or we talk about it later. And if I don't do that, then I walk away, or I just don't talk to you. That's what I do.
I just go ghost. Like I don't know. Like I don't like explaining myself because like if I explain myself the first time and you ain't listen, like why I'm gonna keep explaining myself to you? So it's like I'm not about to keep talking to you if you don't get it the first time.
This is one more question I want to ask to add on that. So if an adult really doesn't understand you the first time, how could they ask in a way where it feels like they genuinely didn't understand versus not trying to hear you? Because I think, like, if I really didn't understand what you were saying and you were like, I'm not explaining again as an adult, I could feel shut out and feel like, dang, I don't even know what I did. So how could an adult go about that conversation and feel like, no, I don't want you to, you don't have to, I'm not asking you to justify, I'm just seeking to understand.
I mean, they could still try to talk to me, and I would try to understand them. But like, if they like, I don't know.
It's just different. It's just a
Yeah.
different vibe you can pick up on.
Yeah.
I definitely can understand that. I want to swing directions a little bit. How do we get parents more involved in their children's education? How do your parents, whether it be through set expectations, you need to get this grade, whether it be punctual expectations, you need to be in school every day. How do your parents contribute to you guys' education?
My mom, she like to see the grades come in the mailbox. That's her first thing. When she get that grades in mailbox, oh, it's a different story. You see like a 50, oh, can't do it. No, can't do it. But if it's 90s, 80s, 100s, she's proud of me. Shows it on the refrigerator. They put it up on the refrigerator, like stuff like that. My mom was like that.
My my mom went to see the report card too, because she's like, oh, she said, oh, my grades need to be above an 85, or I'm not applying myself. So if they're not above an 85, she gets on me because I'm not applying myself, because she knows that I can be an honor roll student for the whole year.
I agree. A lot of things. Like my parents always been involved in my school life and all that, but that's just because they got high expectations for me. But that goes along with what we were just talking about, what expectations and them always agreeing. Like when they how they talk to us, I feel like how they talk to us. I'm done. I'm done.
They won't hold it against you. It's on the radio.
No, it's all good. I understand that. I think the way that parents kind of impact us and explain the way that we.
Let's slow down. We're moving too fast to the question.
Okay,
Give them
yeah.
time to process.
I'll go a little slower. This the way I want to ask this one, right? Because parents impact the way that we do and the way we move through school and the way that the expectations that they set. Do we feel like either for ourselves or for others that we get these grades, that we work hard in school for us or for our parents? Because when we think about successful people, the motivation for your parents works now. And then what typically happens is we get to college and that motivation kind of, they're not there anymore. So it's not they may not be getting the report card every month. And so now the reason to do good in school, we feel like, what am I here for if college is the direction that maybe some of us want to go? So do we feel like for now, we're doing these things in school, we're getting these grades for ourselves or just for our parents?
I do it for the both of us because like I want to see myself like where I want to be and be successful and where I want to be, and I want like my mom to be proud of me, and like I want to like give her stuff like she never had, like move her out the house and where she want to be. So
Um, I want to do it for the both of us too, but I got a problem with like procrastinating, and like I won't get stuff done unless I get pressured to do it. That's just I don't know. But my mom helps me through that, and I want to see her happy, and I want to see me happy. But it's just a problem with me procrastinating.
A lot of people always like they always had expectations for me, and I always would like try my best to fulfill them. But having all them expectations right now, I'm really at the point where I only do it for myself. I don't really care about other people's expectations. So
And maybe that pushes you guys to get to school, get to class, do the work. But there are probably other kids, other peers in your class who maybe aren't as committed, who maybe don't work as hard because in their mind, maybe school won't get them to where they want to get to. For you guys and for most people, school is the means to an end. I didn't love writing essays, but when I saw this essay and saw this class, I was thinking about if I apply here, what I can do for my family and things of that nature down the line. How do we make class and school more attractive? How do we get kids in the class? And what was the, let's just start there. Let's not do the double question. How can we make, what can class have? What can school provide to make it more interesting and attractive to get kids in the building and get kids in the class?
I feel like, I mean, my school has like class called life skills, like where we talk about our future, college. Like they just added that to our schedule, and I feel like that was a good thing because I needed that because it's like that class pushed me to do better in life, and I needed that. So
Like, so applicable classes. It's like, okay, I could really use this stuff, right? So school maybe, if you could maybe understand more of how what I'm learning in class is actually gonna help me. Maybe that would make or push you to actually get there because now there's more of a tangible benefit. We have a caller who's gonna call in. Caller, you are on the air. Hi, good morning. You can go ahead. I think we can hear you. You can go ahead.
Yes. Good morning to everyone there. This is Dr. Doyle.
Good morning.
Dr. Neil Doyle. I'm a retired Buffalo school teacher, and I do a lot in the community. I just wanted you to know that I've had several students from Burgard win my essay contest. And the person who encouraged them to enter the contest was Veronica Golden. Veronica's a social worker. She really encouraged the young people to enter. And I had several of your students win first place. And they came to the Maryland Library. They read their essays. Some of the parents came in. In one of the contests, I wanted them to do some research. I wanted them to find out that the Martin Luther King came to Buffalo in 1972. But when he came here and he spoke at the time, he was not welcomed here. I wanted the students to find out why he was not welcomed and to do an essay, and they did a tremendous job. And the last thing I want to say, because I have done more than 100 essay contests, I find that one of the ways to give our students an outlet to talk on issues and express opinions is through writing. I just wanted to share that. And you all have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. I appreciate the call. Where did we leave off at?
Repeat the question.
Um,
See?
yeah, no, the caller threw me off.
Making classes applicable.
Yeah.
What makes them more
How do we
attractive?
make school attractive? How do we get kids into the building, into the classes without forcing them? What can we provide at?
it's like an unpopular opinion, but like if you could like make money at school, a lot more people would come.
Make money now.
Like incentives, like our school, we work on cars. If we could make money working on cars during the school year, a lot more people would come. Or like welding or machining, like a lot more people would come.
So again, going back to that, I need tangible benefit. I don't want to learn math that I'm never going to use. I want stuff that's going to go from school. I get out of here and I can turn this around and have actual use for it.
Yeah, like kind of like college. I like the idea of college, but when I found out some of the stuff about college, I'm like, nah, cause you don't really get to pick your careers all like that. But if we had classes where we get to like actually choose and talk about actually what we want to do when we grow up and stuff, probably people would have an interest in that.
So how can you talk from that uh, administrative perspective? So I think sometimes we'll say the things that we want because we don't necessarily understand what's on the other side, preventing those things. Because I bet if we could, we just give everybody all the class they want and do all the things that we needed to do. Or maybe we want to answer after the caller. We'll go to the caller first. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Yes, I love what you're talking about as far as getting kids into the school. I just recently started teaching in the school, have my own classroom. And life skills is something that's wrapped into what I'm teaching. I'm teaching communications. I have fourth graders flying commercial drones. The first week when they came to the class, they have full editing, full podcasting, full video production, and you don't have to test them to the class. And there's a waiting list. That's how many students want to get into the program.
That's and that the demand for that you've seen, you think reflects because kids want applicable skills they can use.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you that well.
And you think that the demand for that class is so high because it's an applicable skill that kids can use is actually more realistic and stuff that they're interested in?
Because it's something they're interested in. And the content for the show, they're talking about their life. They're talking about what they want to do when they grow up. They're talking about their business plans. And we'll ask students from fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. And they normally don't have conversations like this. And they're talking about, the things they go through. And even their housing is important. Their whole environment and situations have a big factor in it too. So I just want to throw this out. This is a little off topic, but the Buffalo Municipal Housing Authority just signed off on breaking ground in the Terry project to build 405 new apartments. So changing their life, changing their environment is important too.
That's good, and I think that class, like we're about to talk about, how could we? Thank you, caller, for calling, and we appreciate it. On that administrator side, how do we or what can we do to help address these concerns or desires that we're voicing that are realistic? Because I know, like I said, sometimes there are barriers, tape, and things that we don't know behind the scenes that prevent us from getting to where we want to get to.
So first, I want to say I agree with him 100%. If we could pay you to come to school, I believe more students would come to school. In the summer, those who've been a part of the summer program, if you're a part of Mayor Summer Youth, that is one time that you actually are doing classwork and you're getting paid through the Mayor Summer Youth program to actually be in school. Can't do it all year long though. But during the year, the New York State Regents or New York State Education Department actually dictate to us what courses you have to take. If you ever remember the conversations you had with your counselors, there's certain classes you have to take as a 9th, a 10th, and 11th, 12th graders. So the only time you really get the chance to choose electives is if you're on track to graduate and you get those extra periods that you might have a study hall. At that particular time, you actually can pick the courses of interest. It's good to hear that a school actually thought to put life skills in because that's something that the district moved away from. We used to teach life skills, but I think it's so important that life skills be reintegrated back into our curriculum because what you're finding is a lot of our young people don't know about paying a bill or setting up your budget, how much it would cost, how much would I need to make to pay my rent, mortgage, my car note, put gas in the car, put food in my refrigerator. So the life skill piece is so important.
My question to you would be this, and maybe you guys could explain this from your side. I know I had a lot of younger people when I was in middle school and high school who just had the entrepreneurial spirit. They would sell stuff, they were trying to cut hair, they were trying to do things, sell clothes to get their money, and all those efforts seem to be cut down by schools for regulation purposes, just for other purposes. What about on that side, an entrepreneurial club to help foster and help encourage these spirits of making money that we have? We have people who want to make money but don't necessarily know how can we maybe encourage that to, even if it's not necessarily getting paid to go to school, we can give you skills to make money when you leave out of it?
So actually, Burgard is actually that type of school. So you heard Najai speak about welding, machine tool, and auto. So in those different programs, we're giving students the skills in those particular fields that if they graduate, actually just graduate from Burgard, most of them could go right into the workforce. They don't need to really go for any other education or training. If they want to get a higher level of certification or the licensing, they could go for a couple of years to Northland, and then they would have their license and be able to work in those particular fields. But I always speak of the story. There's a young lady that went to Burgard, I would say 12 to 15 years ago. I wasn't there, but when she first came in, she wasn't so successful in welding. She turned herself around, graduated, and she works at NASA because the skills that they're giving you in those particular fields, they transition to so many different fields out in the world. You hear them talking about the federal government, how we're going to be rebuilding the infrastructure of our country. Those are, you are the people that they're going to be dependent upon, the welders, the machine tool people, the auto people, because the skills that you attain in there, they're going to need you to build bridges and houses and buildings and all those different things. So that's the entrepreneur that we're actually trying to teach you or train you that you actually could leave with that particular certification and actually possibly open up your own company. You don't need to go work for anybody else because you can be an independent welder. Independent, you can open your own auto shop or your own machine tool shop.
And maybe it then does come down to those, we need to have maybe more of those conversations to help kids understand how this can be more presently applicable. I think, you know, long-term gratification goals down the line are sometimes hard to see and hard to be motivated by. If I told you, like, if you were 110 and I was like, hey man, 5 years you could be 190, 200 all muscle, you might be like, yeah, okay, sure, right? Or yo, you just really work on this one shot right now, but 10 years you could be in the NBA. I mean, sure. But that feels like almost like it's like it doesn't almost feel real. How can we make it feel more real for now to get you in the class now? Because yeah, that's the goal, but we need you here now to get to that goal. If you're so focused on best or the end goal, I'd rather be focused on day to day because then the end goal will come as a byproduct. But if you're only focused on the end goal and you don't focus on day to day, you'll never get there. So how do we make it more tangibly applicable now? And I don't know maybe if there even is an answer to that, but I think maybe just raising that question gives us in the mindset to say we need it to be motivating now, not when I graduate, not in 2 years after I graduate or 4 years after I graduate. I need it to be, how can this help me now?
One of the things we've been successful at Burger is through internships. Sometimes companies don't want to take our students because of insurance, but we've been successful the last couple of years through internships. So the students will go in their senior year for the second half of the day, and the employer had already told them that once you graduate in June, I'm hiring you. So they knew once I completed this internship from January to June, they knew they were going right into employment, like right after graduation.
And it does seem like as a people, as a like just around, it's a lot harder to get internships nowadays. At least the idea of it isn't as pushed as it used to be because back in the day, people said, "Oh yeah, just go walk in and just say you want to work here." But now it's like I don't know if they're gonna send me online to go do a resume that doesn't really feel realistic. We're kind of closing out of the interview, and though I did appreciate perspective, hopefully get you guys back maybe with some different students. But I do appreciate you guys sharing what you guys said because it does help. Like I said, I know we were in here last minute, but as we leave in these last 2 minutes, are there anything specifically you guys want to say, maybe to the community, maybe to an adults, maybe just a hi mom, whatever you want to say to the community as we leave out? You got about
And tell
20 seconds on the mic. And also talk again, remind them who you are
and what you want to do when you grow up, because
what
this
you
is an opportunity that someone might hear and say, I heard that person. So tell them what you want. And then maybe in the summer, there could be an opportunity. So whoever's going first.
Okay, so in the future, I want to be a zoologist. I want to help animals and explore, or I want to be a nurse. That's like a traveling nurse. I'm gonna do that too. I don't know which one to pick, but yeah. And hi, mom.
My name is Jai. I go to Burger. I'm 17. I'm seeing. Um, since like the last 4 years, my mom has been like going through a lot and not like she goes to the hospital and sometimes the nurse can't help her. So I always made it my goal to become a nurse so I can help other people's moms that couldn't be helped when they needed to be helped. So that's what I want to go to college for, to be an NP, and hopefully it works out. And I play sports too. So yeah.
It's gonna work out now. Hopefully it's gonna work out. We'll see. We'll see you doctor in a couple of years.
I want to do real estate. That's what I'm interested in.
Go ahead.
I got an entrepreneurial like mind, so I just got a passion for working. So my goal is to be rich, but my dream, my dream, I plan to reshape the world.
That's a good thing.
Don't leave me out there like that. Put it out. That's a good one right there. Change the
I
world.
just want to thank all of the young people coming out today on their vacation day. It's a sunny day, and my goal is to be the best principal that I can be.
I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna throw my goal in there. I want to help young people and older people alike communicate a little better. Just bridge that gap. I want to help us have some difficult conversations because I think there's some things that we want to say. There's some things that we know, there's things that they know that we just got to kind of talk it out on. But as we close out, like I said, thank you guys again. Call us next week if you want to call in. Remember the number 716-837-1112. See you guys next week. Enjoy yourself. Bye.
We'd like to thank all our loyal listeners.
Yeah, the time does go by pretty fast. You respect.